is everybody this afternoon? I know nobody wants to be doing this. You're like, I want to play with my PlayStation, my Xbox. I want to go drive my tractor, whatever it is, my four-wheeler. Anyway, we are here, and we're having a class today, but we're not going to have a video conference today because you have some writing to do. Some of you, shame on you, some of you have not even handed in anything at all. Some of you have handed in every piece of writing that I have asked you to do, and I am so proud of those of you who have done that, but some of you have not handed in, and I'm waiting still, because I don't want to be giving bad grades to people, but you have to give me something so that I can grade you. All right, especially now that we're doing this online. Okay, so here's the deal. Today we're going to talk about somebody that is famous all over the world. And I'm going to show you a picture of her. And you tell me if you know who that is. Do you know who that is? Type in chat if you know. Come on. Is she famous? Why is she famous? Why do we know who she is? Why is it that we know who she is? What has she done? I'm not saying anything because I want to watch the answers in the chat box. I have another question. Where is she from? You tell me if you know. If you don't know, it's all good. It's all good if you don't know. But where is she from? Now tell me something about her that is very unique that you know. Those of you who said something about her being special because she's so young and she has done things that a lot of younger people have not done. That's something that's very unique about her. What else is there that you can talk about when it comes to her? Another question that I have of you is, do you think what she did is positive or negative? Because when you say strike, right? Okay, strike. Let's go on a strike. Is a strike always something positive? What kind of negative aspects of a strike can you point out to me? I want 5 reasons in the chat box right now why a strike would be something positive. Let's go with the positive first, and then 5 reasons why it would be negative. Positives. Go. Right. Well, some of the things that you're writing, I expected to see. I'm kidding. I don't even know what you're writing right now because I'm not. I'm going to be typing in chat what I think. But I think that you should all take a minute to think about the positives. What kind of positive things you can achieve. For example, in October, there was a bus strike, right? The bus drivers went on strike, and they wanted something positive to come out of it. They wanted a better salary. They wanted better work conditions. They wanted something good to come out of it. But there were some negatives from the bus strike. Do you remember that? Well, for me, I had to take a cab a couple of times, which was really expensive. I had to ask people to drive me to work because I don't have a car and I depend on the buses. A lot of people couldn't go to work because of that. So there were some negatives. So every time somebody goes on a strike, there are positives and negatives. So some of you may argue it was a positive thing because she was striking for the environment. It was a negative thing that she wasn't going to school. But then some of you may argue, hey, she's getting an education in a different manner. How do you think she is getting an education without going to school? Go. How do you think this girl, am I pointing in the right direction? This girl here, how is she getting an education without going to school? Is it possible? Go. Type in chat what you think. I'm not talking about homeschooling. I know that nowadays when you say homeschooling, you might be thinking, okay, we're going to do what we're doing now. This isn't homeschooling. This is long distance learning online. Fancy. No, but homeschooling is when your parents are actually responsible for your education. And some athletes and actors and actresses, child actors and actresses, they have to be homeschooled because they can't attend regular school. That's homeschooling. And maybe, I don't know what the situation is with Greta, but I think that could be the case, that she's being homeschooled. Or she might be thinking like, hey, she probably knows a lot, has a lot of knowledge that she acquired through traveling, through being involved with so many amazing projects. So maybe she might not even need an education at all. So you can argue both sides. Well, you guys, I'm going to play a video that has made her incredibly famous. She became incredibly famous because of this. This is just a little bit of background. My music is still playing. I'm old, okay? I listen to 80s music. Okay. I listen to that. That's all I listen to. Not all I listen to, but mostly. Mostly. So I want you to take 5 minutes of your life, okay? I want you to take those 5 minutes of your life, and I want you to pay attention to this. No, you're not getting those 5 minutes back, but it's just 5 minutes, okay? So sit, focus, listen and pay attention to the video I'm going to show you. 5 minutes of your life. 5 minutes. And then we're going to move on to something else.
It was a lonely event a little over a year ago, and in the intervening time you have sparked the interest of millions, literally, of children around the globe, demanding action for climate change. What's your message to world leaders today?
My message is that we'll be watching you. is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
I'd like to hear your opinion about her speech. I definitely want to hear it. Please tell me what you think about that. There you go. I know a couple of you are going to be happy because Trump was in the background of the video. Lots of Trump supporters in my class. Lots of Trump supporters in this class. I don't want to say lots, but more than I would expect in Norway, of all places, for there to be Trump supporters. I find it rather interesting, to be honest. I'm not going to say what my personal opinion is, but I am going to say you're all entitled to yours. Okay, so now that we have seen a little bit about Greta Thunberg and what she did and why she's famous, what her message is, I want you to open your books to page 123, and you will see this. I need to get that flag out of it. All right. Exercise 3, page 123. We have some background on Greta Thunberg. Swedish teenager Greta Thunberg started a climate strike outside the Swedish parliament in 2018. Since then, she has become a global phenomenon, speaking at the United Nations and taking part in many demonstrations. Greta makes use of social media to connect with fellow activists and spread her message about the need to save our planet from environmental disaster. Her Facebook post on the next page concerns something different, though. Read it and then discuss the questions that follow. Okay, so here on the next page, page 124, I actually don't want you to, and I can't open it for some reason. Anyway, let me try this again. How about now? Yes, there we have it. Page 124. All right. You have a Facebook post that Greta made. I want you to give me your opinion about this, because here she's talking about something else. Here she's talking about herself, a very personal issue for her. Here's what she says. Today is Autism Awareness Day. Proud to be on the spectrum. And no, autism, as well as ADHD, ADD, Tourette's, OCD, ODD, etc., is not a gift. For most, it is an endless fight against schools, workplaces, and bullies. But under the right circumstances, given the right adjustments, it can be a superpower. I've had my fair share of depressions, alienation, anxiety, and disorders. But without my diagnosis, I would never have started school striking, because then I would have been like everybody else. Sorry, everyone else. Same thing. Our societies need to change, and we need people who think outside the box, and we need to start taking care of each other and embrace our differences. SP Power Autism. So I want you to tell me your opinions about this. I want you to tell me everything that you know about this, if you do. And there are 3 questions there. 1, 2, 3. But guess what? I only want you to do 1. I only want you to answer letter A. What does she say about autism and how it has affected her? This is what I want you to write about. Just a 1 question. See, I'm not giving you too much to do. Not about this anyway. But when she talks about ADHD, ADD, Tourette's, some of you may have never heard about anything like that. Some of you may be very familiar with it. And the one thing in this chapter, which is called Challenges, the name of the chapter we're reading is Challenges. We have talked about dyslexia. We have talked about how it can affect people. and how to cope with it, as well as how some advantages may come with a diagnosis like that. Even you might think that's crazy, but there are lots of advantages and disadvantages to everything, including what she's talking about here, how it can be a superpower. So what does ADD stand for? Type it in the chat box. ADD, what does that stand for? Maybe you're right, maybe you're not, I'll see. If you know what those acronyms stand for, I want you to also talk about that. So the writing you're going to do today is you're going to answer letter A on page 124. You're going to also talk about your opinion about Greta. What do you think about what she's been doing? Do you value her efforts to change the world? Do you think she can change anything? Or do you think it's all rubbish? I will respect whatever it is that you have to say. I'm not going to be looking at your paper and be like, oh, this is wrong. You don't agree with it? How dare you? I'm not going to, no pun intended. I'm not going to be like that. I want to look at what you have to say and how you express yourself in English. The key to this whole thing is language, how you use language. I want you to express yourself, express your opinion. What kind of arguments do you have? If you say, oh, I don't like her, the end. No, why don't you like her? Why don't you think her opinion is valid? I want you to express your opinion. I think blah, 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 blah. In my opinion, da, 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 da. According to what I know, I believe da, 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 da. Don't write ta, 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 ta. The ta, 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 ta is just where you insert your opinion, how you feel about the issues. Okay, here's the deal. You have to do this writing and you have to hand it in. Some of you who haven't handed in anything, you're in trouble. You have to hand in something. You have to write something for me to evaluate you. Especially now, people who show up at the video conference and don't talk, people who show up at the YouTube, for the YouTube lectures and don't type anything, and don't hand in anything, how do I know you're even attending classes? I might as well mark you absent if I don't know you're here. So you have to let me know that you're attending classes. Hand in your work, show up for the video conference and say something, type something, and show that you're there. We don't know what the situation is going to be. Maybe next week we'll all be back in the classroom. Yay! Or maybe not. So if we're not, then you have to do your part. Okay? So today we are not going to have a video conference today because I want you to sit and work on your writing. The exams are coming up, and some of you will have to write an essay. Some of you might have to take this exam, and I worry for the people who actually don't hand in anything, the people who don't try to write anything. I worry about people who don't want to even try. And what makes me sad is that all of you have potential. Some of you are doing tremendously well, and I say congratulations, but some of you have all the potential, meaning you can do it, you just don't care to. But you should. You only have English 1 year now in high school. After this year, it's over. You don't ever have to look at my face again, and you don't ever have to have classes with me again, unless you want to. Because I do teach outside of the scopes of high school and institutions of higher education. But that's besides the point. You are only required to do this year then do it. Do it properly. Do the best that you can. All right? So no video conference today. Some people are going, yay! And some people are going, aw. So let's do Quizlet Live just a little bit. Just a couple of rounds. And after that, you are on your own. You are on your own. So, I'm going to give you the code. And you are going to go in.
At 16 years of age, she's the youngest person to be named in Time magazine.
I want everybody, that's something else as well. I want everybody to participate. Even if you, oh, I don't like Quizlet Live, it's stupid. No, I know, but it's part of our class. And you only have to do what? It takes what, 2-3 minutes of your life? That's nothing. So please, I'm going to start the game as soon as I see, I don't know, let's see, most of you in there. I know that a couple of you are sitting with Unabedit. Shout out to Unabedit. Hey. And some of you are at home. I want to see everybody participating. And don't use inappropriate names, because then I don't know that you're there. You have to write your own name. As a matter of fact, the Quizlet list of names, that's actually the closest I get to a roll call to know that you're here. Because some of you don't type anything, don't tell me that you're there, so how am I going to know? Alright? I'm going to type in chat when the game will begin, but you will see on the screen a simple game. A simple game that I'm playing like a crazy person by myself. It's just to illustrate what we're doing. Let's do a couple of rounds. Don't forget to hand in your work, especially those of you who haven't sent me. You have to eventually. Otherwise, you won't get a grade for this class. You have to submit your work. All right? Have a nice weekend, everybody. I'm going to be available on Skype, available on Facebook, available on Canvas. I'm available everywhere Hit me up on any of my platforms. If you need anything, I'm available all the way until 2:15. Yes. Bye-bye.